Welcome to Women Being Loved, a weekly podcast and upcoming book series to help you and other women 35 and beyond attract deep, passionate, lasting love while honoring your authentic self. I'm Tadra, your host. Hello, lovely. I'm so glad you're here with me today. It is 5:15 a.m. where I am right now, and I absolutely love this time of the day. It is my favorite time of the day. The quiet is soothing to my soul. I'll let you in on a little secret. I struggle with sensory overload and at times anxiety. So the times that I'm afforded quiet without traffic, barking dogs is a blessing to me. Let's jump in today with the discussion I promised 2 weeks ago. Is romance dead? It's funny because I had the idea that I wanted to talk about romance like a month ago. I hadn't scripted it all out and I didn't know where it was going yet, but it was there. It was in my mind. And then out of the blue, like 2 days ago, I get this email from the New York Times with a story that they ran on the resurgence of romance novels. Now, romance novels have always been a solid selling genre, but apparently they are going through the roof right now, to the point that there are even romance-themed bookstores. How freaking cool is that? The entire bookstore sells romance novels, and they are popping up all over the US, and I think I read there are 20 of them so far and more on the horizon, and they have the best names. Listen, Ripped Bodice, Love's Sweet Arrow, Tropes and Truffles. Oh my God, I can't stand it. I hope there's one in the Berkeley area so that I can visit, take some selfies, and put them up on social. The Times said the resurgence in the romance genre started during the pandemic, and that makes perfect sense to me. I'm going to quote you a bit from the article. It said, "Its appeal during times of turmoil and uncertainty is obvious. Romance novels offer comfort and escape, and the stories often land on what fans call an HEA, happily ever after." I have some questions for you. Are we as women craving our happily ever after? I'll make it more direct. Are you craving your happily ever after? And are romance novels just the grown-up, sexier version of the fairy tales we heard as little girls? Is the secret billionaire romance subgenre, girl, I didn't even know that was a thing, but apparently it is, and it's big. Is that just Snow White repackaged? And do we need to reframe what we're expecting from real love relationships versus what the pages of the books are setting us up for? Now, saying all that, I know that you are intelligent enough to separate real life from fiction. But does the fiction build a secret longing in us that can't be fully realized? I think romance novels get a bad rap. And I've heard people debating that, oh, it's so hard to have a healthy relationship after you've filled your brain with all this nonsense and all this stuff that doesn't actually happen in real life. I mean, maybe, but also maybe people are just having fun, right? Maybe people are just, as the New York Times said, having an escape from the madness of real life every day. My take on it is this: real life may not mirror bodice ripping. Actually, I don't even own a bodice, so it's probably not going to mirror bodice ripping, earth shaking sex, surprise private jet trips to, I don't know, pick a place that sounds sexy to you, St. Tropez maybe, and the ultimate reveal that the sexy, humble guy that you've been dating from Bumble, he is actually a billionaire in disguise. Wait, I'm not done though. He's also the prince of a small nation that you and I have never heard of. I mean, if you find that, sis, I'm going to celebrate with you. Just let me know. I will be there. But I imagine there aren't a lot of men who fit that description. Actually, probably none. But, if there are, if you stumble upon one, I imagine competition is going to be fierce. But may the odds be ever in your favor. But just because real life may not mirror that dynamic doesn't mean you can't have romance. Two of my favorite romantic memories with my husband, they didn't involve a private jet at all. For my birthday, the first year that we were together, he planned this wonderful, wonderful picnic by a beautiful scenic river. And he bought a gorgeous blanket, and he had a picnic basket, and he filled it with all my favorite foods and ice wine, which I had never had until that point. If you've never had ice wine, it's wonderful. You should try it. It is very sweet though, I warn you. The funny part about this picnic, though, was the food combinations. It was hodgepodge. So we had sushi and hummus, and just these really weird combinations because he knew that I loved all these foods individually. So why not bring them all together? And I tell you, I absolutely loved it. I loved the effort. I loved the thought. I loved the flowers that he brought along with the picnic. It was all wonderful. A decade later, my honey upped his game and created another picnic for me for our anniversary. This time, it was in the mountains of a tiny village in France. There were free-roaming horses around us. There was a waterfall that I could just almost reach out and touch. Paul had packed prosciutto, all these exquisite cheeses, hello, France, fresh baked baguettes, and the most incredible champagne I had ever had. Again, hello, France. What else are you going to do? And it was the ultimate for me. None of that may appeal to you. You may be like, I don't want to eat outside, stinky horses around, We're all different. As I interviewed happily coupled women for my upcoming book of real love stories, it is entitled Love Will Find You, I asked them about romance. Is it still happening for you? Does it even matter? And I found that some women really didn't care at all about romance. They just were not my thing. Other women were hopelessly romantic. They wanted all the experiences, every rom-com in real life. And other women, because their marriages didn't have romance after a certain time, they had this idea that romance didn't exist after a certain period in your relationship. And that is absolutely not true. It simply isn't. I'm an example, and plenty of the women that I interviewed were examples of that. What I did find to be true is that we all have what we define as romantic. So just yesterday, a woman said to me, and I quote, I had to tell my husband to stop bringing me flowers. He'd bring me huge bouquets weekly that died and gave me more work to do with throwing them away and cleaning the vase. It just didn't hit the way he imagined it did. So I lovingly explained what kinds of things mean more to me, like buying my favorite trail mix from Costco's. Okay. I love that. She's like, babe, stop with the roses. I really just want trail mix. So that brings me to the real reason for romance. It's not to impress or catch a partner. Although, let's be honest, that's usually how it starts. But romance is really about discovering the other person's love language. Hello, love language. And doing the things that make them feel loved. That's it. That's it. There's nothing wrong with having the conversation with your significant other, by the way, to steer them in the right direction. Do that if it is necessary. Don't sit there pouting, saying, if he loved me, he would know. We are not mind readers, none of us. Maybe he or she loves you dearly, deeply, but just doesn't know, isn't good at that kind of stuff. So help them out. What doesn't help is comparing your partner to a fictional character that they could never live up to. And I'm just gonna throw this one in for free. Happily ever after is a weird expectation, okay? Do I love my husband? Absolutely. Am I happy every single day with or without him? No, that's ridiculous. And more importantly, it is not his job to make me happy every single day. That is best as an internal job that I'm in charge of. But romance is a fun way for him to make me happy sometimes in ways that only he can. If you are single right now and think that your love for being romanced is silly or worse, unobtainable, I would say to you that neither is true. Just approach what you desire with flexibility. Choose someone who's willing to listen to you and learn what your love language is, and then go and do those things that bring a smile to your face. Do you have romantic stories to share from your relationship that would encourage other women that it is possible? Say, I've been married 10 years and my honey still does this and this and this for me. One of my friends said her husband, after 15 years, still leaves her little notes around the house that says, I love you, you're special, you're amazing, I'm so happy that I have you. I'm like, oh, that's so sweet. 15 years, ladies, he is still doing it. So if you are listening on YouTube, please leave a comment. I'd like to hear from you. I'd like to know that this is resonating. If you'd like to sign up for my newsletter, I send it out about every 10 to 14 days. You can learn about my book when it's ready for purchase by being on the newsletter. Just go to my website at womenbeingloved.com, sign up to read the sample stories there, and then you'll automatically be added to my newsletter. And I have all of this in the show notes if you didn't catch that. On my website, you can also donate to my crowdfunding campaign to help me with the final push of publishing the book of love stories. I really, really want to hire an editor, proofreader, and that runs about $3,000. So, yes. Next week, I'm going to be moving back to California from this 6-month house sit I've been on in Washington State. Hallelujah. I cannot wait. I miss the beach so much. My heart aches. I will not have an episode next week as Paul and I will be packing and prepping this week, and then we will be driving next Thursday. I am hoping that this next house sit that we are going to has a quiet space where I can record my podcast. Fingers crossed, we shall see. This is a drawback to nomadic life, but we are rolling with it. I hope you have a wonderful week, and I will see you soon. And remember, love will find you.